Hello and welcome back to this episode of Making Connections, the BattleCON analysis show where I, your host, Marco DeSantos, try not to do so horribly at playing BattleCON online. In the previous episode, that was a few weeks ago. Ooh, a lot of things went wrong with all of the audio, with all of the video, and the game crashing and all that. Drama aside, I'm here to bring you some fresh BattleCON content. We just released a new character and her name is Marmalade. Yes, her name is Marmalade, the Dragon Princess, and we will be playing her. She's a control character. I'm not really good with control characters. I mostly play brawlers. But so we'll see how far I can get with Marmalade. I'm going to be challenging my friend Bandit Keeks. We will be playing a game of BattleCON online. It will be great. I play with Keeks a lot. And hopefully this doesn't end up being a horrible wash of a game that results in me completely, utterly losing every time. We'll see where it goes. And it's going to be a Marmalade versus Rifflum. This is going to be an interesting game. You know, many people would say this is the battle of the low tiers. Marmalade was actually really low tier in PaperCon, or BattleCon, the board game. And Rifflum is often lauded, I guess, as the worst character
chosen, and so be it.
I mean, he's relatively low on the tier list, at least. Rifflum early game tends to do really slow stuff and really tanky stuff because Rifflum is Rifflum. And that's just how Rifflum rolls. So I should probably leave Switch. I probably don't need shot early on. Barrier. So it's gonna be I guess it's barrier shot into petrifying strike, and then we will get astral trance. I don't know what to put for discards. I am again not the best Marmalade player in the world. We will see how things go. I am intrigued. Oh. Okay, so typical Rifflum discards. No dodge. Ooh, spicy. So my opponent could be playing install. I don't know why I kept Magnificent. That's an odd keep. So I already have two. I might as well just switch dodge, actually. Well, if I'm gonna switch dodge, I might as well short dodge. Nah, switch dodge. Beat one, switch dodge.
I wonder.
My opponent's probably gonna play experimental beat one. I play a lot of Rifflum myself, so if this is an experimental, that's good. Also, my camera's a bit laggy, huh? I just like my camera being laggy. I don't know what's going on. Priority. I will pass to you. To you, my opponent. To you. Okay, let's see what happens. Yep, Alchemic Drive. So I will probably want my opponent to corner himself. Okay. keep my current finisher card because it's a good finisher. Oh, I really don't like what's happening with my camera right now. Maybe if I wipe it? Does that work? I don't know. At this point in time, I don't think my opponent's gonna try to do shot against me. He's gonna be really scared of the petrifying. So I'm gonna do nullifying burst. If my opponent does a residual shot, then that's fine. This will be faster, I believe. In fact, I think this is the best move. I think only substantial shot would beat me at this point. I don't think my opponent would play substantial shot because they are not an insane person. Also, if my opponent does play substantial shot, kudos to them, you know? They deserve it. Alright. What are you doing, Keeks? What are you doing? So this is the real strength of Marmalade, you know? She's able to force, rather, scare opponents with her scary options. My opponent is very much likely scared of Sorceress right now. So, sorry, no, I mean petrifying. Super scary style. I'll probably pass to not give my opponent, space. So let's see, is it the shot that I fear? Nope, it's an install. Okay, an experimental install that just gains a lot of stun guard. Okay. Do I want to be far away? No, I don't want to be that far away, so I'll retreat one with burst and then retreat one with nullifying. Hit the opponent and keep my distance. I want to stay in the middle. I will not spend any concentration. My opponent cannot hit me anyway. He will probably advance one. That was a easy Marmalade just boom. Crash straight into the Rifflum. Wow. I don't know what's wrong with my webcam. It lags sometimes.
Let's begin.
So my opponent. So now install has a lot of stun guard on it. So like as a Rifflum player, I personally like do not respect. I really do not respect install a lot. I don't really find it to be that good of a base. Like during this point in time, my opponent just played shot. He would have like gotten way more stuff out of it. So like now install is buffed, I guess, but like it's just a strictly worse shot slash strike at this point. It's at this point in time, my opponent could go fast, but Rifflum can't go fast right now. He does not have his drive yet. He has no drive, so I actually think Magnificent Grasp is the way to go. So because the only way he could outspeed me is by doing Substantial Grasp. But maybe that's like the nail in my coffin. No, he's always going to be scared of petrifying, right? So I should Magnificent Grasp. Yeah, my opponent's always going to be scared of the petrifying. That's just the way it works. So if my opponent dodges, that's fine. Because I don't really spend too many resources on it. Okay, do I anti-power? If I'm reading that this is a dodge, which I'm expecting it to be, I don't think I should anti. If my opponent antis any of the reagents, I am antiing power. No, I can't anti too much because then I wouldn't have enough force in order to counter anti. Okay. stun guard. It's probably a residual shot. Actually, I think I'm fine with the residual shot, right? Yeah, it's anti-power. So if my opponent counter anti's priority, I will counter anti-priority. Or he's putting... Oh, wait. Residual shot. What else would require that stun guard? Now, why would you put stun guard? It's probably something else. Is it a... It makes no sense on any other attack. So my opponent doesn't seem to be antiing priority.
Increasing resilience.
No, they're antiing a ton of stun guard. Ooh, I'm passing against that. So here's the excellent part about Marmalade. I can hit with this Magnificent Grasp, and depending on what my opponent's attack is, I can anti the correct amount of counters just to either evade his attack or stun him. Most likely evade his attack, because I doubt I'm going to be stunning this. Oh, wait, no, I am stunning this. Heck yes. Ching, ching. All right. So I will just spend 3 counters. Or I could just... Okay, I will definitely push my opponent 1 space. The real question is, do I deal the damage or do I just stay away? Because I can deal all the damage. I should probably stay away. So, since Marmalade is a control character, I should just probably stay away. Wait, I don't even have to stay away. Since my opponent is now no longer in range, I don't have to spend anything. And I get to keep 5 tokens. 5 counters. Sorry, they're not tokens. You don't anti them. So I get to stay here. My opponent will miss. So this is the strength of a control character. I'm not winning a lot of trades. I'm getting 3, 2 damage off. Okay, now my opponent has access to that fast attack, the, where is it? The drive, that has 6 priority. But I have petrifying, so my opponent will probably try to dodge the speed. Here's the problem with Rifflum, is that you can't really easily dodge the guy. I should probably Petri drive. Petri drive? Petri drive. Will this be the beat that my opponent finally does dodge? You know what? If it's dodge, it's fine, right? So this is the thing about Marmalade. Once you have a lot of counters, you're generally safe to do almost anything. I can play Petrifying and be generally safe against anything my opponent does. I could play Barrier and literally just dodge by spending 4. So there's a lot. If my opponent antis anything, it's not a dodge. If he antis anything, it is. If he does not anti anything, it's probably a dodge. So if he antis anything, I will literally counter anti power almost all the time. Nope, so it's a dodge. But we clash! Excellent. So it was a switch dodge. Let's just say I totally read that. So my opponent has to burst at this range in order for switch dodge to work, if I remember correctly. Yes. I can't do anything that would counter the burst right now, so my opponent has to hard read the burst. But I will... Okay, there we go. We will clash and nothing will happen. Hey! Nothing happens. Excellent. So my opponent's not really getting rid of any options. I'm not really getting rid of any options, so... I strike. My opponent drives. Then I will counter and win. This is getting to be really, really insane. Okay, so my opponent can still do drive. I can do meditation. Or I can just dodge backwards. I think dodging backwards is actually the correct play. Oh, Nelly. Okay, let's dodge completely backwards and waste more time. As a control character, the longer the game goes on, the probably better it is for me. Of course, my opponent is Rifflum, but I'm Marmalade. I can't really be doing this stuff against him. Do not spend concentration counters. So the thing about Marmalade too is that all of her options and all of her effects are completely optional, right? So she doesn't actually have to spend for the effects if she doesn't feel like she needs them. So, you know, I play this Petrifying, I actually don't need it, so I don't use it. It's just as simple as that. So the only options my opponent has at this range are... Does my opponent's drive have range? No. Therefore, only shot would work. And only one of these shots, plus the range. But my opponent would have to put the range on their shot. Their shot is going to be slower than all of my shots. So I'm not going to throw away my shot. Nullifying shot, and then if that gets clash, I meditate. Yeah. And then the only way my opponent will actually ever hit me right now is if my opponent antis ranged reagent onto their shot. That's not a good thing. My opponent's probably gonna try to install this beat and hopefully like gain a massive install, but hopefully I gain enough advantages so that my opponent can't do much. So I fully expect the range anti right now. Yup. Do I anti-power? Do I anti-power? That is an excellent question. I probably should anti-power. So this is probably an experimental shot anti-range. So this nullifying shot will win this trade immensely. But hopefully I can win it just enough so I get to keep all my counters. Marmalade is all about spending just the right amount of counters so that you can still have counters. Like, erasing all of your counters is no good. Okay, this is definitely an experimental. There's no way my opponent would be that confident. So nullifying shot is good. My opponent's range options are actually pretty bad now, since everything's now front-loaded into shot. Alright, experimental. Yup, experimental shot. I will never have enough power to beat this out. Okay, so my opponent has 5 power. I have to only spend 3. Yes, 3. Nah. That way it brings down his power to 2, and I have stun guard 2, and that will be more than enough. Wank. So I won't get stunned. I will keep 3 counters, and that's easy peasy. Yep, my opponent has to advance, or else they will not hit. So now we're both out of ranged options. I think next beat no one hits anyone. Yeah, no one can hit anyone next beat, so... Huzzah, I guess. Oh wait, I can do this. I can Magnificent Burst. That's crazy. Can my opponent do anything? No, I don't think they can. So they have to dodge into this Magnificent Burst. Heck, I can even do a Sorceress Burst. Nah, but Magnificent doesn't cost resources to do. I think that's the important part. Okay, so if this gets clashed, I meditate. So I don't think my opponent can do anything aside from dodge in. Yeah, so Magnificent Burst. Is it magnificent? This is a really fun game. I'm not used to Marmalade games. I think this video's been going on for 20-something minutes or something at this point, so yeah. I do apologize if I... what do you call this? I do apologize if I am slow or am a bad Marmalade. I haven't played Marmalade too much. I think it's like my third Marms game with this new patch. So there's a lot of changes that happened to Marmalade from paper version. So her unique ability now only makes her lose 3 concentration instead of all of it. Let's see what happens here. Oh, we clash. I don't hit. I'm sad. 1, 2. Oh wait, I can still hit with the drive. Right? Because Magnificent's 1, 2, and then yeah, I can drive. That's crazy, I guess. What's my opponent doing? Dodge? Dodge, Gohan! Well, my opponent will retreat.
Away.
I will advance 1. And we're back to square 0. Nothing happened this beat. As a control character, expect a lot of this to happen. Expect a lot of null beats. That's what we call this, like a beat where nothing happens. I will not spend concentration to move. Dodges for days, everyone. Dodges for days. If only I had Magnificent Drove earlier. Alright. Can my opponent actually hit me? The answer is once again, no. Oh, and I actually don't have anything that can hit him. Oh, I see. I guess we're switch bursting. My opponent's probably gonna try to install more, but again, look, my opponent's played install twice. It has literally gotten nowhere. It's still just a worse strike at this point. Alright, so I can switch burst. But my opponent cannot hit me at this range, right? Literally nothing, so I'm off just switch striking. Okay, so I'm going to do something really silly. This is so that I can clash my opponent's dodge, but also at the same time, it allows me to dump a base, right? I don't think strike will be all that useful right now, so I'm going to dump it. That way, I'm getting rid of a base that's not very useful this beat, or next beat for that matter, while also gaining the force and clashing my opponent's dodge. Because I think Rifflam's optimal play is actually to dodge into my face. So, we shall see. Do we both do nothing? Oh, nope. Yeah, there we go. Clashed. So now my opponent has to drive in order to get anywhere. I don't need to meditate. I don't need to do this. Do I need to dodge? No, I will grasp. Yeah, I'll grasp. This way, if my opponent drives, I will be relatively okay. I'm still dumping a card that I think won't be too useful. Nope. Alright, my opponent didn't drive and decided to just stay there. I will keep my current finisher card, thank you very much. Alright, at this range, I can now play Nullifying Shot once again and be relatively safe from anything my opponent tries to do. See, the thing about Rifflum is that, yes, he can indeed like build up and buff himself to absurd levels, but... Okay, I can Nullifying Shot, or I can do Barrier Shot. But I can Null Shot, it creates space. The one attack pair that would beat me is this, but since I'm retreating, this will miss. So, Nullifying Shot it is. Whoever told you that Marmalade wasn't a ranger is wrong. Marmalade is totally a ranger. Oh man. Oh, this video has been going on for 26 minutes according to my watch. Not on my watch. I have no watch, so I can't I can't say that. Yeah, again, I don't think my opponent can do anything that beats this. Now that we're at relatively high force totals.
Let's try this.
I can probably anti-power on this and be generally okay. But we'll wait for my opponent to do something first. My opponent will... Okay, if I anti the power, my opponent will get force advantage on top of me. So let's not do that. Because I want to only hit him for 3 so that he goes down to 8. Yeah, so that way they're not gaining 2 force every beat. We're only halfway through the game, so this game's probably gonna be an hour long. So that makes up for missing last week. I'm really sorry about that again. Please do not get mad. My opponent is anti-power. I don't think my opponent can actually do anything right now. I will pass. So if my opponent antis even more power, that's the point where I'll anti-power. I'll probably have to like exhaust all of my reserves this beat. And oh nope, my opponent didn't do anything. Is it still a residual? Oh, it's a residual shot this time. All right. So I can anti 2, I think. I can anti 2. That way it brings me up to 4 and I can still do barrier. And then I don't get stunned, if I remember. No, on hit. Right. So I have to do 3. Oh, I almost made a huge misplay. My opponent gains power on hit, so I have to spend 3. Alright. Okay, didn't get stunned. Okay, my opponent can move up to 1 space. I will assume my opponent will advance. But again, at this range, my opponent cannot hit me, so I am basically safe.
Let's begin.
Again, this is a huge effect of my opponent putting their range on their shot. If their range was on their drive instead, this would be an entirely different game. This is the problem with Rifflum, is that depending on how you anti or spend your resources, it can ruin your entire game. If the ranger on the drive, I would actually have a harder time fighting against my opponent. So I can Magnificent Burst. I can Sorceress Burst. Or I can Magnificent Meditation. I should probably just Sorceress Meditation. My opponent can't hit me. This clashes it, and then I can drive. Alright, I'll accept that. So be it. So be it, he says. Right, Sorceress Meditation, do your work. So usually you want to find points in time where you can attempt a meditation because it gives you an extra counter, and that's really good. Having a lot of counter is super important. So a very fun style. Very fun base, actually. I'm a real fan of the bases that aren't actually real attacks. And they're more like, utility and stuff like that. Oh, my opponent finally played slow. Okay. So my opponent will probably advance one. So my opponent's not hitting. Therefore, I do not need to spend any. So the burst would beat me next beat is my problem.
Let's begin.
No, I will miss, so do not spend. So my opponent can choose to advance now. And that might be a problem. Okay, definitely my opponent advances. Now my opponent will probably... Okay, can my opponent use the finisher on me? Yes. Does this auto-stun? No. I will not advance one space. I will keep all of it. Since my opponent advanced 2, I can now play Magnificent. So now it's a 50-50 choice. My opponent's burst is not as scary as my opponent's drive. My opponent can play this. No, that would hit. This would hit. Burst would also work. Oh, how I wish I had meditation right now. That's 4. None of my opponent's true attacks would work. I should probably Magnificent Dodge. If I can't Magnificent Dodge, I will have to Magnificent Grasp. Okay. So at least if this gets clashed, there's a 50-50.
Let's try this.
And at least I can Grasp. My opponent's still gonna be ahead of me in the Force game, so... yeah, this might have been a big mistake. I should have just probably played Barrier Drive.
Reducing density.
Okay, my opponent's trying to go fast, so this is a good thing. It means that I don't need to do anything anymore. This is probably the drive I've been pseudo-afraid of this entire time. So unless my opponent's playing a priority 2 attack and then buffing the priority just to hedge counter me, that's a pretty good read, but I'd highly doubt it. Yep, there we go. Alchemic install. Nice. So I think my opponent was trying to clash my my drive. My Magnificent Drive, because that's exactly Magnificent Drive's priority. If I had done Magnificent Drive this beat, I would have completely destroyed my opponent, but that's just not the case. My opponent misses. So I'm at range 2, that means my opponent cannot use their finisher.
Away.
Retreat 1. Now my opponent can use the finisher. I will not spend to move. Do not spend concentration to move. Oh, how long has this episode gone? Oh my gosh, has it been like 30-something minutes? 35. Ooh, Nelly. So my opponent can finisher me. Whippity dee. My opponent finally has access to... Okay, so this is the problem. Now my opponent actually has decent attacks to do against me. Oh... That drive is really scary. My opponent can burst and that would beat my drive. Since I'm getting Sorceress back next beat, it might be best to just do this and deal a lot of damage and then just strike them next beat. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Will my opponent finally play the drive of their dreams? The drive of dreams! My opponent goes first. We will see what they will ante. Pass. Is this an overdrive finisher? It's an overdrive finisher. Okay. So we will ante power. My ante does not. If my opponent does not respond, I almost know for a certain fact that it's an overdrive finisher. This one's the one that regains you all your reagents, right? Yep. This does not have Sun Guard. All right, that's all I needed to know. Yeah, it's probably the overdrive finisher. All right, that's fine. Or it's transformative burst. Okay. Interesting. The shot is scary. Drive. Oh, maybe I should have anti-priority. It's gonna be a 50-50. Uh-oh. My opponent can now play the shot. Okay, my opponent does... No, my opponent can't do anything to be as slow as this attack. Yes. Alright. So we're spending all of our tokens. Not good. Not good. Alright. I have to retreat only one. That way I can still hit. Oh wait, no, my opponent has Stun Guard 4, so I don't need to spend. So I only need to spend to become active player, but I don't need to spend for the on-hit stun, because my opponent is already stunned. Yeah, since I have 5 power. So I'm active player now. Who's faster now? It is me. Okay, let me just double check the math. I will deal 5 damage, my opponent has 4 Stun Guard. Okay, do not spend the counters, and I should be Gucci. Gucci, Gucci fam, Gucci, Gucci gang. I hope Gucci means what I think it means. Like, good, right? It means good. So, yeah. Things are going good, if that's what that means. Okay, I have 3 counters once more. Okay, my opponent can now do the scary drive. I get Nullifying Strike. That's an interesting play. My opponent can't actually hit me unless they do drive. Right? Yes, only drive would work. So Nullifying Strike is actually a pretty good pair right now. I get to 4, and the next week I can barrier. Yeah, I don't think my opponent can even stun this. So unless I will anti-stun guard on it, just in case. If my opponent does the overdrive finisher as well, I should be fine, because I will dodge it. So... I will pass unless my opponent antis power. No. Uh-huh. Yeah. I will pass unless my opponent antis power. Because I don't think my opponent can get more than 5 power this beat. Unless they anti-power with their force gauge. But then I can counter anti and stuff. You know, it's all about resource management.
Reducing density.
Faster. I was expecting to go slower, right? So I will pass. It's the power that matters. It's the power. I could have done shot instead of strike. I just realized that.
Sharpening.
Okay, that's the power that I was scared of. So I will anti-guard up. Guard up! Hopefully my opponent advances. Please advance, Keeks, please! Okay, there's that. I'm not anti-ing power. I don't need to, because if I hit him, my opponent dies. So, let's see what this beat yields. My opponent's highest power base is shot. Yup, I should have done shot. Oh well, I guess. Okay. Next beat, my opponent's only way out. Ah, troublesome. But yeah, my opponent's only way out is to burst next beat. I have 4. Yes. Alright. Time to barrier. Shot. This move is guaranteed safe. So I think my opponent can only clash me, but I think they do not have options to clash. Oh wait, no. No, not even that. Yeah, this specific priority is probably really hard to clash. Residual strike would be the way to clash it. In fact, probably the only way to clash it. So I will anti-power on top of this no matter what. Oh, but now my opponent has range. Oh, this is after activating? Whoa, I always thought this was on hit. Okay, obviously I haven't been using finishers enough. Yeah. Man, this is a long game. So be it, he says. So be it. My opponent can anti. I will also anti. Or auntie. No, I think that's your mom's sister. I'm not funny, okay? You guys have to understand. Range, it's probably the drive at this point. Like substantial drive. I won't style or anything. I will just anti the appropriate amount. I'll probably anti stun guard just in case. Like if I anti stun guard, that still gives me the probability of having all of my tokens next beat. Counters, sorry. And I don't want to like fizzle out the speed. So this is probably like a substantial drive. So I will anti the stun guard as a contingency. Just in case something happens that I'm not sure of, that ends up like barrier can't hit, and at the same time, I might get stunned. Look, I don't know. I'm just trying to hedge my bets here. My opponent passed. I will pass. Substantial drive is my only guess at this point. There it is. That's a pretty powerful attack. Alright, my opponent's faster. But I can use barrier's start of beat effect in order to make my opponent miss no doubt. Spend 4 concentration counters to dodge the opponent's attacks this beat. Yes. Go. No matter what my opponent does, I will dodge it by default, and I will hit him back and win. I'm really sorry if this has been a long episode. This is just like endemic to how Marmalade is as a character.
Let's begin.
She's just really slow. Look, I got to beat 14 or something. That's a long game. On average, a game lasts 10 beats.
My formula was flawed.
Your formula was flawed, he says. Alright, and that was a great game. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to do that well as Marmalade. Honestly, I'm quite shocked that that's how it ended up, you know? I was expecting the game to go a little bit more Keeks' way, but I think to identify the certain key things that make that game work was that one beat where I decided to create the most amount of distance was also followed by my opponent choosing to give their ranged shot. This gave my opponent a huge weakness in the form of not being able to hit range 5 without shot in hand. Usually, Rifflum remedies this by trying to stay in the center of the board or putting the range on drive. Sadly, the range went on to shot, and as long as shot was down and I was able to read it, I was able to gain those beats easily and essentially force my opponent to do nothing for like 4 to 6 beats in that game. So, that was my episode of Making Connections, and it seems that I did make that connection with Marmalade, our main character for this episode. So if you guys like this video or want me to play any other characters, please tell me in the comment section down below. The next video will probably be a gameplay analysis. A lot of people have actually submitted games to me, and I've just had no time to like write a proper analysis for them, mostly because my previous episode got lost multiple times, so you just gotta forgive me, and it's gonna take a while for me to get to that. But don't worry, we will be back again with our regular scheduled programming next week. As usual, it has been me, your host, Marco DeSantos, also known as Mechanic Critic. And don't forget your special action. Thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night. Oh, by the way, if you like this video, please click the like button. And if you want to stay updated on all the level 99 game stuff that we're doing, from podcasts to gameplay of BattleCON Online, please click the subscribe button and the bell notification to be the first to know. As usual, please don't forget your special action, and thank you, World of Indians. Thank you, and good night. For real this time.